Hello, welcome. Welcome. I hope everyone got a belly full of wonderful food and drinks galore as well. My name is Andrea Chalfin. I am the managing editor at KRCC. Thank you. What that usually means is I'm running the news ship at KRCC. What that also means is that you all are usually invisible to me when I'm talking to you. So forgive me for a little bit of nerves. I'm here with Matthew Schniper of Side Dish. Long-time food journalist here in Colorado Springs, and I just want to say welcome to our community conversation about the food scene here in Colorado Springs. In particular, the first time that Michelin is, in theory, visiting some spots here south of the Palmer Divide. A quick thank you to Ivy Wild for hosting this tonight. Thank you also to Matthew for planning and being open to it in the first place, as well as your team, including Ryan. I would like to thank Brittany and Kayla from Colorado Public Radio, as well as Zane from Colorado Public Radio, who are here, helped organize the event as well. And our guests, Brother and Melvin, thank you for being here as well. It probably goes without saying that being in the Michelin Guide is one of the top accolades that any restaurant or hotel can get. We'll break down the specific awards a little bit later. We will break down the specific awards a little bit later, but hopefully our conversation will give you some insight into what it means to work in a Michelin restaurant, what our possible inclusion says about the food scene here in Colorado Springs, and so much more. We will also have an opportunity for everyone to ask questions, so definitely make sure to hang on to anything that comes to mind. That will be questions for myself, although I can tell you that I just like to eat food. Matthew and Brother and Melvin as well. One final note, this is KRCC Live. That means we are recording it. It will be edited into various segments. It's also possible that we may stop and restart depending on how the conversations are going. So as we might say, a glimpse behind the radio curtain, if you will. So welcome. Hopefully this is a wonderful evening, a primer on the Michelin in Colorado Springs, and let Matthew take it away.
All right. I would like to welcome Melvin to the stage, please. So our first guest, Melvin Davila, owner of Hayato Ramen, which started in the Springs as a pop-up inside of District 11 last year and is now located inside of Quaddy Food Hall. So Melvin, just as we get your mic adjusted, I want to jump right in. Tell the audience about Hayato in case they have not been yet.
Hi everybody, I'm Melvin. I'm the owner of Hayato Ramen inside of Quaddy. I work alongside a Japanese master ramen chef. He's originally from Kagoshima City, Japan, and he's been making ramen for over 30 years. We have 3 restaurants down in South Florida, and that's my hometown. And he also has 5 restaurants over in Japan and then 1 in Singapore as well. He's dedicated his entire life to the craft of ramen. And yeah, great mentor, amazing guy. I'm super privileged to have the honor of serving his authentic Japanese food here in Colorado Springs, and yeah, I'm super grateful to be here. So
Awesome. Your menu is built on specific ingredients from a specific region. Tell us just a little more about Hayato's menu if you're coming in.
So a lot of different ramen is from different styles and prefectures in Japan. Not all ramen is completely the same. So we focus on southern style ramen from Kagoshima City, Japan. Kagoshima City is next to Mount Sakurajima, so a lot of like volcanic activity. The water there, it's like I would say like a little bit more bitter and stuff like that. Yeah, our soy sauce we also import from Kagoshima City, Japan as well. So we make our tare, which is our soy sauce base for our ramens completely from scratch. Our noodles, we also import them, but we use it's a custom blend that's made for us using Kagoshima wheat and gluten as well. So yeah.
It's awesome. It sounds like kind of like a terroir. Like in the wine world, you have the taste of the place, and the same thing. Like instead of a general ramen shop, yours has a flavor of a place.
Yes. So it's 100% Kagoshima style ramen. A little bit different from what most people have had. A lot of people have like Tokyo ramen or Hokkaido ramen. I think would probably be like the most similar to the terroir here in Colorado Springs, given the elevation. So yeah, we also make the broth for 72 hours here in Colorado Springs. Due to the elevation, it takes a little bit longer for our bones to get softer and stuff like that. Down in South Florida, we make it for 1 day since we are at sea level. So we've learned a lot about the ramen game here in the elevation, like our eggs. The Japanese 7-minute egg is the Japanese 8-minute and 15-second egg. And yeah, our noodles take a little bit longer to boil too. The heat has been quite a nightmare for us too. So yeah, but we got everything down packed, and yeah, like I said, I'm privileged to work with Maemura-san.
So let's go back to Miami. When you and Chef K met, I'd love for you to walk us through, name drop the places, name drop the chefs, get me from your meeting of him up until, well, we'll get to the special part.
Okay. Okay, so back in 2015, I was working at Able and Baker for two chefs, Chef Ryan McCarthy and John Tate. They were two chefs from the Red Sparrow in Hudson, New York that had 3 Michelin stars. I got the job randomly. I was poached from my job at a sports bar, and they just liked my energy and my personality, and they felt that I would have been a good fit there. The food scene back in 2015 wasn't what it was in Miami, especially like given a big city. It's a party city, moves very fast. People don't want to sit down and they don't care what you put on a plate. It was kind of sad, especially like working for such great chefs like that. And they didn't want to put their name on the line. And one day to the next, like I remember we all were just drinking beers at one night, and we were having fun with the chefs, and I was like, wow, this is like so strange. Like, why are we having like such a good vibe with the chefs? And then the next day they packed up and left.
That's the restaurant industry, in case you didn't know. That's really normal. That happens often.
So Maemura-san, which is my chef, we have a sister city relationship. Miami and Kagoshima City we have a sister city relationship. So he always wanted to go to Miami. And then he just started doing pop-ups with ramen over at our space, and it was the busiest I've ever seen that place. Like, I've never seen people do like New York style lines for a restaurant in Miami. The food scene was never there in Miami. And especially in a 95-degree humid weather, like out the door in South Beach was like just unreal. And I remember the first time ever trying his food, which was crazy, like trying those chefs' food and then trying real Japanese food. Like, my life and my palate changed for the rest of my life. I started working with Maemura-san, and we just started doing pop-ups and then doing pop-ups around the city and opening up new restaurants. And then I got poached again. I got poached by another restaurant, which I was working with James Beard nominated Chef Brad Kilgore. That was around 2017, and I got back into fine dining. And
To pause on that real quick, you said Chef Kilgore came out of Alinea, is that right?
Yeah, Chef Kilgore was from Alinea in Chicago. I've met Chef Grant multiple times. He always visited him at our restaurants in South Florida. He was like the corner table, super cool guy.
Just to pause on that, Alinea is like legend. It's probably the most celebrated restaurant in the States, I think, right?
Yes.
3-star Michelin, is that right? No, it was. There's that story too.
Yeah, two.
That's right, it got knocked down.
Yeah.
There was a time, so just to put that in perspective, the people that Melvin's interacting with at that time are coming from a pretty respected lineage.
Yes, yeah. And I was super fortunate to get along with the crew. I feel like I was never a good fit for those restaurants, just given like my personality. I was very like, I don't know, very happy and optimistic, and those restaurants those restaurants were so serious, and like, you know, like there was a like, you know, like I've seen like coworkers get fired for like dropping plates, and I've seen a lot of like my staff members like cry and just leave in the service, and it was but you know, I was always just super happy and optimistic, and just chef's #1 cheerleader. I was always just I always just loved to express like his art that, you know, you really wouldn't talk to him, but like his art he put on the plate and like express it to the guests and give them experiences that they'll never forget for the rest of their lives. And
so that brings us to, I think, the ultimate place you're working there.
Yeah, so
unless I skipped over anything.
Okay, yeah, so then 2020 came around. Unfortunately, Chef Brad lost all his restaurants. Well, fortunately for him.
Told you it's common, it just keeps happening.
Yeah, fortunately for him, he did lose all his restaurants, and I say fortunately because he was under a lot of investment pressure, and yeah, he was able to kind of like, you know, like freestyle a lot of his food and do like exactly what he wanted, not what these like big city investors wanted him to do. So yeah, I'm always super proud of Chef Brad, and you know, he's my goat, and I love Chef Brad. So yeah. And then 2021, the stars reached Miami. Like years later, like the stars weren't even kind of like what's going on here. You know, like the talks of the stars happened in the pandemic, stars arrived in 2021, and in 2023, one of my good friends, Louis, who was our operations manager at the restaurants of Alter, where I worked with Chef Brad, we all lost our jobs, we all split ways, and he kind of started gathering all the team back, and you know, he was promising us like that we're gonna shoot for the stars and we're gonna fire on full gears, and yeah, he pretty much brought the Avengers back together, and yeah.
Which Avenger were you? I'm sorry.
I'm Tony Stark. And yeah, we started off. We were all regulars at one of the restaurants for the restaurateur that we used to work for. His name is Alvaro Perez Miranda. And he had a restaurant called Hiyakawa, and we were regulars there all the time, and we loved Chef Masayuki Komatsu. He is one of the best chefs in the city, like every dish kaisendan, kaiseki style. He also do sushi. We'd import the fish directly from Japan 17 hours straight to our restaurants and pick up all the fish in the morning, and yeah, we would deliver at a high level every single day. That was Hiyakawa. We were just regulars there, and then they offered me the job in 2023 to work at Midoriye, which was one of our like more casual dining restaurants, which we were still serving high quality fish. And then around November of that year, 2023, we opened up Ogawa in Little River, which we received a 1 Michelin star, which is a huge accolade, for us, and we were super grateful. We had no idea when we got the star. We were in complete shock, and I would always text I have years of text messages that I would tell Masayuki. It's like, even when I was just a regular at his restaurant, it's like, I know you're gonna get the star. I know what you do. He's a very quiet guy, you know. So he's like, oh no, like. So then when we got the star, he was just like, I remember he's like, we did it. Thank you so much. And
what did it feel like to you? What did you feel like when you got the star?
It didn't feel real. It didn't feel real. It felt like because we would talk about it, like even back when we were working with Brad in 2017, and like seeing the squad of like the people that we would all speak about this, and like, you know, it was just a dream, and we didn't really know what we were asking for really, when, you know, especially being front of the house, we're kind of delulu. We're just, we didn't know that, yeah, we had like no idea. I had no idea. And then when we got it, it was just like, you couldn't really like process the stars because we just went firing on full cylinders, covers for 6 months, fully booked restaurant, and just having to be on point every single day and giving everybody 100% of ourselves. And yeah, it was a lot of pressure too. I felt a lot for my chef, Masayuki Komatsu. Like I was just wondered like where his head was at, because, you know, like a lot of restaurants that do receive a Michelin star, they lose the Michelin stars or they close down. It's a high percentage. I forget what's the percentage of restaurants when they receive the star that they close down, brother. It's like 40 to 80. Like it's something absurd. So I know it was a dream of his, and yeah, it was just unreal.
So this was, you told me it was a 9-seat omakase,
Yeah,
2 seatings.
Yes, it was a 9-seat omakase, 2 seatings. We'd have our first set of people would come in at 6:30, and then our second set would come around 9:30. Essentially, my role and my position was just to make sure I'd call everybody early in the day, just make sure that everybody was ready and excited for their dinner. I would ask for any any dietary restrictions or aversions or anything like that. Celebrating special occasions, I'd get the dining room in impeccable condition. Our restrooms, I would scrub our toilets. That's one of the big things that Masayuki Komatsu would always do. Even when we were at the other restaurant, Midoriya too, he's like, our bathrooms have to be completely impeccable. And I would also like help whatever I could do with prep. Also, since I worked with making ramen, I would always just try to help them out as much as I could and just be very hands-on. The Japanese, like, they believe that even if you're front of the house, like you're all hands-on. So it's like you're just not like the server, like you do a little bit of everything, you know.
And you were telling me the concept, pronounce the word for me, the ultimate hospitality in Japanese.
Oh, so yeah, our group philosophy was omotenashi, which is the ultimate form of Japanese hospitality. Just always thinking of the guest needs before they anything.
Anticipating
like,
needs,
anticipating
basically.
the guest needs and just always being ahead of the game, and you know. But for me, it was pretty easy. I just treat like, if you go over to my house, you'll get the same hospitality.
So I want to jump to, what could an award mean for Colorado Springs?
So for what it did for my city, I tell people all the time, I'm eternally grateful. I'm Miami, born and raised. I love my city. I love where I'm from. But like I said, we started off at a point where the food scene wasn't there. And also what it does for our chefs and for our staff and for the hospitality game, like it just riles up the whole entire teams and all the troops everywhere. Like I feel like for us, it's like we reached a championship level. Like it doesn't matter what restaurant you're working at in a hole in the wall or where you are. Like if you work hard enough and you put your passion on a plate and you do everything the right way, like it just makes the city a lot better. And yeah, like the food game. I love food. I love to go out to eat. I love to drink wine. I love to drink and have great food. And what it did for like other little hole in the wall places, like you'd go anywhere and there's great food, like, you know, and yeah, there's a championship now and we could reach it if we work hard enough. So what it does for everybody, like regular line cooks, dishwashers, like people would want to just work at our restaurant to be a dishwasher just to just try to reach the ultimate goal. So yeah.
So coming from Miami and thinking about everything you've just told us, how do you view our scene right now?
I do. I mean, since I've experienced a lot of like the trend going up in my city, and I remember like even working for Chef Brad, like there's some days like that people wouldn't show up to eat at our restaurants, and like we'd have like just like 5 covers on the books or like 8 covers on the books, and I feel like if he had his restaurants now, we would be completely packed up. But I do see the boom in the city. I see chefs that are pushing the envelope and doing creative things that, you know, that they're supposed to do. And even if people don't like it or they do, you know, at the end of the day, like that's what we were doing back in the days. And I see the city going up. I see the food scene and the culinary scene going up. I make ramen, so I'm not as cool as like Chef Brother, but and other chefs here that I see are like firing on full gears. But people come to me and people want authentic food. Like people thank me all the time for making ramen completely from scratch and making it the way that a lot of people are well traveled. You know, we also have a lot of former like military and former military that have traveled to Japan, and like you can't fool those palates. You know, like a lot of people that travel to New York City, you know, Chicago, California, that you know they know what the real stuff is, and they do want the demand. The demand is here, and yeah, so I do think a lot of people have been asking for a better food scene, and you know, I feel like we'll deliver it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you joining us for our first segment tonight. Well, Chef. And next, Miss Andrea is going to interview Brother. Putting my water in the bag. Thank you. Good job.
Hi. I'm Andrea Chalfin, like I mentioned before, and I am very happy to have Brother Luck join us this evening. Chef Brother Luck, born in San Francisco. For those of you who might not know, but you probably do, he spent 30 years in professional kitchens, including many years here in Colorado Springs. And he is our celebrity chef, right? Top Chef, Food Network's Chopped. He beat Bobby Flay on Beat Bobby Flay. And now you operate for by Brother Luck with Chef Ashley Brown and her terrific team. That's downtown across from Poor Richards. So, did I miss anything? Would you like to add anything to that?
No, yeah, I think Wyoming state champion for line dancing.
So, as our local celebrity chef, you have devoted yourself to pushing the scene forward. What's happened in the last 20 years that makes now the right time for our city to enter Michelin contention? And are we ready for it?
Yeah, you know, I've had the pleasure of watching this city since 2006. And there was talented chefs here back then. And I think they were ahead of their time. You know, it's why I built such great friendships with people like Jay Gust and Brent Beavers. They were doing things back then that were on the level of 3 Michelin star restaurants like El Bulli. That's how I met Jay Gust here in town. He used to run the Ritz. And we were doing a cooking competition together. And I got to actually watch him do this frozen margarita sphere and in a balloon. And I was like, we're going to be great friends. And here we are 20 years later. And, you know, as I got to see him this past weekend, it's that reminder that the talent has always been here. The challenge has been, can we really bring it to the masses and educate and inspire and also talk about a new lens, because that's where we are right now. We're at a stage of transition where we're watching organizations like James Beard Foundation do overhauls of their program to include and be more diverse and ensure that we're not just pigeonholing ourselves into one specific style of cooking, one specific style of eating. So when we look at something like Michelin and we see the brand, which is what it is, it's a business, it's a brand, we're watching that company evolve its business module. And that's where I inserted myself into a lot of the discussion, is when this came to our city as a potential in 2021, 22, somewhere around there, we weren't even tapped as restaurateurs of, is it something we want to pursue? The city had the opportunity, our tourism office had the opportunity to say yes or no. And when it was presented to them, it was $75,000 a year for a 3-year commitment. And that was presented to every city in the state of Colorado from the state office. And we didn't have the money budgeted. And I totally agree with Doug's decision at that time. We didn't have the money budgeted. We had the senior open coming at the time. A lot of money was allocated for that. That draws a lot of revenue for our city. So he declined. What I didn't like in that scenario was I didn't have a voice. And I think if you're gonna be upset or disappointed, you need to insert yourself. You need to have the conversations, you need to advocate, you need to educate, and you need to be present. And that's where my transition started with a lot of these discussions. Explain to me why we said no. What's the fear? What's the hesitation? What's the challenges? These are the things that I want to know as an operator, and let me, as a professional, give you the background on why that's not the case. Or if it is, I want to understand more. So I came from this place of curiosity, and it opened up this dialogue with the state level, with the city level, and with our restaurateurs to say, what do you think? And we had a voice. And when it came back down to, we're going to revamp the contract with the state and Michelin, what if we included more cities? Would they be willing to be involved if we discounted the price because there's more participation? So we got it down. We negotiated it down to $35,000, which is a huge, huge difference between that 75 of what it was. But it then turned into, okay, we can do this for the entire state of Colorado. And I think if we're gonna represent Michelin and market to other states, to other countries, and be an attraction to say we have Michelin Colorado, you have to include the second largest city in the state. And it doesn't matter if anyone's ready for it, it's the opportunity that you can achieve it, because that's going to be the attraction, that's going to be the change in the transition, not the culture that it came with in the past, what it can be. And to me, that's where I'm looking. What does that look like for our city in 20 years?
For any of our listeners who have not splurged to dine at a Michelin spot themselves, me included, what is that experience like at a Michelin, at the high end, both from a customer point of view and your knowledge from back of the house?
Well, to understand Michelin is to understand the origin. It started as a marketing campaign with a tire company. We sell you some tires. We're going to give you a guide of locations worth visiting, and we will rank them on 1, 2, or 3 stars, 3 being worth the journey. That in France is what became Michelin, and the chefs ate it up. So to be a 3 Michelin star restaurant in France 100 years ago was an accolade. And that's what we're seeing evolve into what it is today. So understand the difference between a 1, 2, and a 3-star Michelin restaurant. Everyone immediately goes into this idea of a 3-star Michelin restaurant. White tablecloths, pristine, quiet, eagle eye, attention to detail, the glass, the crystal, like everything is so high end, it's so expensive that it's almost a turnoff. And I've eaten at a lot of restaurants that are 3 Michelin. I've worked in 3 Michelin restaurants. They're intense to get to that level. It's a certain level of insanity that is required to achieve that level of accolade. Now, my favorite restaurants are actually the 1 stars, because they have such a beautiful story. They're still connected to that origin, and they're not quite pushing to that level of that 2 or 3 star, trying to achieve that high level. They're just doing what they do. To me, my favorite restaurants are actually those one-star Michelin restaurants. And the ones that I've been to in Europe and the ones I've experienced in Asia and even here in this country, those are beautiful restaurants. So at the end of the day, it's a marketing campaign. And it's still a marketing campaign. This is a business. And that's where we have to really understand that Michelin is simply just another brand. It's a luxury brand that has clout, that has a household connection that people recognize. And if you are representing a product where you're selling luxury, it's good to associate yourself with that. I do that every day with Top Chef or Bobby Flay or Chopped or Food Network. Those are all just brands that I associate myself with because I have a connection. So I view Michelin the same way.
All right, so you were, as you just said, a very big advocate to bringing Michelin to Colorado Springs. And as you're saying now, and as you've told me before, you actually don't care if you get one or a star or a recommended or a bib gourmand or anything. Why is that?
Because I have no control over it. There's nothing, like I don't, as someone who spent a very large portion of my career trying to chase accolades, you realize once you start to achieve them that ruins the entire purpose of what you're doing. You miss the entire lesson that's there, which is don't chase the accolade, chase the discipline. Chase the control, the self-control, the self-discipline, the integrity, all of those things that you're carrying internally and building within your culture. That is what will get you to those accolades, not chasing them. So when I say that, absolutely, it's a dream to earn that accolade for me personally, because I think we've all grown up in this industry, at least our generation and before, we've all grown up in this industry with Michelin here. And it was ruined with culture and aggressive behavior and toxic workplaces. And that is something that we're seeing change in society. That's not just Michelin. That's kitchens don't operate like that. They're not allowed to. That new generation will walk out. They don't care. Bye. That's just the difference.
Mm-hmm. But you'd like it if you got one, huh?
Well, I'm a business owner. Here's how I view it. I look at it from two different lenses. I look at it from, as a business owner, it does add tremendous opportunity to what you're doing. We talked about Chef Brad Kilgore. I've known Brad for a long time. I know that feeling. I've experienced that feeling in this restaurant of having 5 on the books and having 5 people show up to your restaurant. We had a day like that last week in Colorado Springs right now. Regardless of all my accolades and achievements, that doesn't change the economy. And we have to consider those things. So to earn that kind of accolade, that puts me onto a mass press media blitz that draws a lot of attention to our market. And if there's anything I learned being on a show like Top Chef and being a part of Bravo's machine, it brought eyes here. For me to learn from our director of tourism that I was an economic stimulus because we were drawing people to Colorado Springs to come eat at our restaurant because they saw me on national television. That is power. So when I look at the brands and what comes with it, I know that that's a big piece. The second view is my staff. Because even though it's not as important to me personally, it doesn't mean it's not an accolade that can be put onto someone's resume to change the trajectory of their entire career. And he was a great example of exactly that. That is someone who was a part of that team, who earned that accolade, who now gets to carry that for the rest of their career and gets to speak on it. I mean, to sit on a stage and talk to a community, that's value. And I see that piece of it. So it's very exciting to think what it could do for someone like Chef Ashley, or what it could do for some of our front of the house team, or what it could do for our kitchen team. My role and my main responsibility is to protect the staff. We have to protect the culture. We have to have such a strong foundation in our business that it doesn't crumble when the excitement comes. And we have been able to experience that for Top Chef. We saw it. I mean, 4 was going to close. Like, in all honesty, 4 was on its way to closing that first year. And it was such a risky move because I had to leave for 6 weeks to go film and be away from my restaurant the month it opened. And that was a tough decision. I took huge loans, I took huge risks to get that restaurant, and then I got the opportunity to be on a national platform. And I made the decision to do it because I knew on the back end it had legs, it had opportunity, and it would push us forward. And when I got back from filming Top Chef and the roller coaster of emotion and excitement died down, the restaurant started to get really slow. And it wasn't going to make it. And then the show came out in December, and it changed everything. Our books got crazy, and our volume got crazy, and we had to add more staff. We've seen this from a different type of brand. So when I speak on it, I'm looking at it from that lens.
Mm-hmm. And yet we heard, as we were hearing with Chef Melvin, that one-star restaurants run a really big risk of closing. So what is that risk here then in the city?
It's any restaurant runs that risk. I mean, we see this every week, another restaurant's closing. The restaurant industry is very volatile. And the challenge is that there are so many variables that determine our profit margins. And everything from legislation to economy, all these things. I mean, we're working with products that's perishable. You've got to, when 2020 happened, I did everything I could to get things off the shelf and into the hands of consumers because it was going to go bad. And that's one of the things that we have to always think about. So when you look at a restaurant that earns an accolade and is not prepared for that surge, for that volume, for that pressure that comes with it, that's where you see them crumble. So it's a true stat, but I don't think it's just because of the 1 star. I think it's the attention that comes with that 1 star that crumbles the restaurant if they don't have their foundation in their systems and in their communication.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think that Michelin attention would do to the city, the restaurants, the chefs, if the Springs were to be so lucky as to be included?
Well, let's talk the real numbers. Our city's in debt, right? $30 million. We have to figure out the solution to that. And the only thing that's going to really change that number is going to be our LART tax, our lodging and rental tax. And that is a tax that is applied to any person staying in a hotel or renting a car. So in order to increase that number, in 2024, we collected $10 million in LART money. And $5 million of that went to the budget for marketing Colorado Springs as a city. So that's where a lot of the money for Visit Colorado Springs comes from, is actually that source. So in order to increase our revenue, we have to look at the actual numbers. And when you realize that 56% of people who stayed in Colorado Springs that year did not stay overnight, my first question is why? And when I look at the data and what I see we've trained our consumer to only stay here for the daytime. Michelin changes our nightlife. Michelin draws a better restaurateur to this market. It's going to create different types of restaurants in this market with that accolade available, and it's going to encourage more nightlife. We need to have more overnight stays in our hotels, and we have to create campaigns and partner with organizations that are going to help us do that, because that is immediate revenue. If we miss 56% of that consumer and we made 10 million, we left 10 million on the table, and we're 30 million debt. So in 3 years we can be out of debt if we simply just start converting. And I'm an operator, I'm a chef and a restaurateur, so I look at things from a number line first, and I ask questions to work my way into that problem. So that's why I think something like Michelin can truly change what it is. It's every restaurateur and chef's responsibility, though, to protect their culture and protect their staff, to not allow the pressure and the misconception of what Michelin is to become. We don't have to carry ourselves that way. We can't act like that anymore. There's too many cameras. you're gonna get put on blast, and it's gonna get out there. And this new generation, they won't tolerate. They won't work in those environments.
And just quickly, where do you like to dine out regularly?
Well, I love Chef Ashley's food, for one. I'm really excited to check out this ramen shop because I had the pleasure of studying in Japan, and I love authentic Japanese cooking. Right now, probably one of my go-to spots is Por Favor. I love their tacos. I love their expansion. I love their story. And I think they're doing some amazing things right now. So I think there's some great things in town.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time,
Absolutely.
brother.
I wanted that chair.
You want this chair?
No, this chair.
We switch sides. Let's give another round to Brother Luck and Chef Melvin. So, Matthew,
Yes, Andrea.
for those of you who do not know Matthew, Matthew has been a long-time food journalist in the city, starting with The Independent?
Yes.
Okay, starting with The Independent, and on KRCC now we do a monthly conversation that ranges everything from refugee food to, Michelin stars. So when you've been at this a long time, what do you look at when you do a review?
I think about basic criteria, ambiance, decor, atmosphere, service, hospitality, and ultimately the food. So you try to do the whole package, but also think of it in context. So if you're at the Broadmoor, everything's more grandiose because it's the Broadmoor. But if you're at the ramen shop in the food hall, you aren't expecting all of that because it's not the Broadmoor. So do a fair review if you're doing reviewing, critical reviewing, for the scene, the place. Be fair to all of that. I've always tried to find the positives. We want to bring our scene up. We want to make this city better. We want to be a great food city with Michelin restaurants. And I don't think that's going to happen if we're only critical and if we kick everyone and keep kicking them and just complain all the time. It is true, even our visitor center is acknowledged on the same data Brother was referring to, we are a middling food city. They know that. That's why they're trying to increase the occupancy rate. They know there's a value to bringing that up. So I feel like I've been a part of that now for 20 years, trying to do my own little piece and my own little corner to champion the good, be honest about the bad, and just be fair, ultimately.
Mm-hmm. And so we're talking about Michelin here. Explain briefly sort of the tiers of Michelin. What is possible here?
All right, I'm going to cite Michelin themselves on this one. Mm-hmm. I did a little bit of pre-research on this, just to make sure we know what we were talking about tonight. They have 5 criteria for what they look for. Ingredient quality, harmony of flavors, mastery of culinary technique, how the chef's personality shines through, and consistency. Mm-hmm. That's what they say they're looking for. Now, as that breaks down into the different, the stars and things, we'll go through that real quick. Here's something really important up front. Big letters, they only look at the food on the plate and nothing more, is what they say. So here we are talking about all this service and hospitality and all that. They claim that it's only the food on the plate, that style and decor have no bearing. I do kind of call BS on that too, because I feel like you can't walk in and get bad hospitality, a lame greeting or someone's rude to you. Everything else is off, and yet there's this beautiful plate that shows up and you're like, oh, that's fantastic. I'm giving that 2 stars. Like I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that even if they say there isn't, there's got to be psychologically something there. So they also say service doesn't play a part. Again, I just fine, whatever. They say it's about the food on the plate. And they also acknowledge that stars are awarded to restaurants, not chefs. So sometimes the chef's name is attached. That's great. But if the chef changes, it stays with the restaurant. Okay. Let's go to the first tier, recommended.
Recommended.
So, they say that this is simply a good meal, in their words. It means that the inspectors have found the food to be above average, but not quite at a bib level.
Like, I think, like Taco Star.
No, that's a star in the name. That would be a 1 star.
I'm a big fan of Taco Star, and if we're talking about quality,
Yeah. Maybe.
why not?
Maybe.
Why not?
Dream. Go ahead and keep dreaming. But I mean, think about how many places meet that criteria in our city right now. Simply a good meal. I'm pretty sure we can all go out and find a place to have simply a good meal right now. But keep in mind how few there are already awarded statewide. So again, I think it's a little bit higher than that. I think that's a little bit understated for recommended. But I do think this city has a really good chance at getting a good amount of recommended based on that.
Okay.
Next, you have Bib Gourmand. They say that this is just great value. This is all tied to value and the money proposition.
So that is also Taco Star.
I mean, you keep talking about it on air, it's probably going to happen. It's possible. So yeah, it's interesting when you look, we think of that as like that next tier up, but it's really just talking about value. I again think the city has primed for some spots that could be a Bib Gourmand. Let's go into the stars now. So 1 star recognizes a restaurant that uses top quality ingredients and prepares dishes with distinct flavors to a consistently high standard. Again, sounds like we have some of those, but bear in mind only 9 places in Denver have a star. So are we going to get stars, especially in year 1? Perhaps not, I don't know. 2 stars, a restaurant where the team's personalities and talents shine through in expertly crafted dishes with food that's both refined and inspired. Now we're just getting froofy talk. Like, I don't know what that means, but sounds good, 2 stars. Bear in mind, Denver only has 1 2-star, Wolf's Taylor. That's it.
That's it.
So in our whole state, there's only 1 2-star. There are no 3 stars in state. This is the highest honor, and this, in their language, establishments would have chefs at the peak of their profession, where the cooking elevates the craft to an art form. So, you know, I think there's some art on the plate to be seen in Colorado Springs, but let's go back to the very beginning of that. We have to hit all 5 levels of, you know, is it hitting everything, not, you know, just that food, even though they say they're, you know, only going for the food. So anyway, that's the criteria. Keep that in mind next month when we expect announcements statewide for how things shake out through those tiers.
Now, you've been doing a lot of research for you on what these are like, which means you've been eating a lot of really good food, in theory. That includes the spots in Denver. So what, you mentioned Denver a couple of times. What does the perspective of Denver and the fact that they only have 1 2-star, that they have, what did you say, 9 1-stars? What does that perspective bring, or how do you bring that perspective and apply it to the Springs here?
Yeah, I feel hopeful because they do have 30 plus total awards, right around 30, 31. Most of those are recommended, some are bib, and then we've got those stars we mentioned. That's a pretty good number. That's a really big city. Well, we're like a quarter of their size. So I don't suspect we're going to see anywhere near that many in year 1 here in our city alone. But the places I've visited, I didn't do the stars there. I've done some recommendeds. I'm not sure anything that I went to was a bib. Let me throw out a few names, but I went to Softit's. There's an Israeli restaurant at the Source Hotel. Been to their brunch. Great brunch, that's worth doing. It's approachable. It's relatively affordable to be eating at a Michelin and at that spot. Service wasn't phenomenal. There were plenty of things I could have, you know, pointed to and been like, this is totally messed up. But loved my meal and I was happy, but whatever happened when the inspectors were there, that was awarded. Mr. Oso's, like an awesome little taco bar. Mock Fam, great noodles right off Colfax. Ashkara was the Mediterranean spot. I didn't even love that one. I thought, I've had better stuff in other places. So I'm like, wow, if this gets awarded, I'm thinking about some of the places in my mind here in the Springs that are better than that. So if our places in the Springs have a good day when the inspector happens to be there, I hope we see them on that list, you know. La Diabla, Pozzoli, Mezcal over near Coors Field, fantastic, really, really good, but super approachable. You're just right outside of a ballpark. You're basically like a Mexican cantina. And again, now this is where I do trust Michelin. It was all about what's in that bowl, because the rest was just a cool atmosphere, cool vibe, but like nothing outstanding on service and stuff, but it was just great food. So yeah, Denver gives me hope because of the things I see awarded there.
And so you have been to 1 stars. You've been to them abroad. You went to one in Boulder. What was it that stood out to you in terms of why that would get a 1 star, those would get 1 stars?
Yeah, firstly, they were highly expensive, so
So not Taco Star.
not Taco Star. I budgeted for that on my trips, and I did do it as honest research. I know we've been having this Michelin conversation now for a few years. I should know more about this. This makes perfect sense to write this off. Like, let's go to a 1 star. One of them, we were in Porto in Portugal. Sure, we had a good enough time, but after the fact, when we literally digested the meal, we were like, God, look at the price tag. That wasn't worth it. It was good, but not great. There was too much pageantry, too much froofiness. The chef's journey. Like, get over yourself. Like, I'm tired of the chef's journey. We just didn't love it. By contrast, we went to one outside of Barcelona the next year on a different trip. Absolutely loved that one. It was more not the chef's journey, but the chef in a place using that local product. He was an ex-war correspondent journalist, so I kind of related to the whole journalism tie-in. His food was beautiful. Loved that experience. It was just one more taste in a different country. Again, highly expensive, but gave me a sense of like all these other little details. There's always one more thing that comes out and surprises you. You're doing like a tasting menu or something, and they've already delivered the check. You think it's over. No, it's not over yet. Now arrives all the little treats in the entremet, and then there's some coffee service in the garden. Please join us over here. Like it's extrapolated. It just goes on and on. So I think the 1 stars tend to be a little more grandiose in their presentations. But yes, you mentioned Boulder. This one I just did a couple weeks ago. I've been wanting to go to this place for a long time. It's called Frasca. You may have heard of it. Nothing new here. It's just backlogged on my list. I finally got there, and I was blown away. We had just incredible hospitality. We sat at the bar. Bartender took care of us. You might sometimes think you sit at a bar, all they know about is the drink side, right? This person could answer every single thing about every single plate of food that came out and tell stories about different ingredients. This place was highly impressive. Start to finish, just seamless. They didn't go over the top with pageantry. It was just, it felt casual, yet it was very classy. We did end up doing the kitchen tour, not out of obligation because it's part of their normal show, but because we actually just bonded with the staff, and after a few hours of talking to them, they liked us, we liked them, and they're like, hey, you want to come back and see the kitchen? Absolutely, sure, why not? It was authentic, and the plates were gorgeous. The food, in the end, the food, as we were talking about, was just wonderful. And yeah, highly expensive, did not regret a penny of it.
So let's get to the good stuff here.
There's good stuff coming.
There's all good stuff.
Okay.
What do you think, knowing what you know, the research that you've done, the folks that you've talked to, what do you think could potentially come away with some sort of an accolade from Michelin in Colorado Springs?
Is this the time to name drop and actually?
Yes, this is it, and we are going to hold your feet to the fire on this.
These are prognostications that are going to embarrass me,
Yes.
or make me like a really good tastemaker.
Yes.
Okay. I'm ready for that. All year I've been trying not to answer this question and just answer vaguely, but I think it's time. We should
Let's
start talking about places that we think in our town could be on these lists.
Okay.
And I don't think they'll be super surprising to our average diners in town. I think ultimately, I'm not sure we will get a star in year 1. Would love to see 1 or 2. I'd be so happy, but I'm not sure.
You keep saying year 1, so we have a 3-year commitment?
Did we sign up for? Yes, we have a 3-year commitment.
Okay, continue.
I just mean, yeah, this is the first year that the Springs is in contention. They're not promising they'll come here, but we assume being the second city, they'll come here. We think inspectors have already been here, so they've been here. You heard it from brother.
They've been here.
So I do think we will get a good handful of recommended, maybe a couple bibs. we'll see what happens. That's my prediction. Happy to be wrong if we perform better than that. I do not think we'll get blanked. Some people are like, oh, we suck, we're not going to get anything. That does not seem likely to me. Like, if we don't get recommendations, you can all tickle me one at a time. I'll sit in the corner and you can tickle me till I can't breathe. It's fine. Seemed like a better punishment that's not so gruesome. I don't know. But let's go over the fine dining list. Those are the ones that everyone thinks about first, right? A place that's going to cost you a lot of money in town.
Yes.
So sure, go to the Broadmoor. Broadmoor has multiple eateries. The pinnacle of that is the Penrose Room. I think Penrose Room is in great contention for something. They rebranded and they did the whole new renovation in recent years. Beautiful. The service is really high end. They already have to maintain their 5 stars and 5 diamonds, so they're already doing that excessive service where you get up somewhere to go to the restroom or something, you come back, your towel's folded. It's all the little things that are nice touches, right? So Penrose is absolutely in contention. I love the Summit when I dine there with Chef Rocio. I think her food's phenomenal. I love the decor there. If it were me, I hope Summit wins over Penrose just because it'd be cool. But
Pit the Broadmoor against the Broadmoor.
Right. And you might see that even Restaurante del Lago gets something, and maybe the Broadmoor gets a handful of things. Each place is its own kitchen and deserving in its own way for consideration at least. We can't not mention Four Bear Brother Luck, not just because Ashley and Brother are here, but that's not sharing anything that you probably haven't thought about. And again, Michelin's not going to come here and avoid the Top Chef's restaurant. They're at least going to get that consideration. So let's put them in contention. You know what? Something downtown that's newer that people may not have been to yet, but you should check out. Latin Social. That restaurant group came out of Denver. They have another spot up in University Village, but I really like Latin Social right now. Some amazing food coming from Chef Ricky. We'll see if they can get some attention. Now back to University Village, Cowboy Star does a really good job. It's not just an average steakhouse. They did come out of San Diego. That's their only other location. But they have access to, speaking of Japan earlier, this A5 Wagyu from this one prefecture that's hard, it's incredible. It was at Taste of Pikes Peak. You were with me.
I was.
Everyone just kept getting back in line to eat that. And they won the People's Choice Award. You would go there alone just for that one dish. Anyway, Cowboy Star.
Okay. Well, but it's not all fine dining, right?
I'm going to get to some other ones.
Okay.
I got a list in front of me.
Oh, my bad.
We haven't gotten the 5-minute warning yet.
Yes, we have.
Oh, we have. I was looking down. All right. I'll speed it up then. We can go over. It's fine. All right. Roth Steakhouse. Everyone, it opened. They're pushing hard for it. They hired people who've gone to Michelin's. They put a bunch of money into it. I'm still wondering what it's like on a concert night, the whole noise experience, etc. I haven't been for that, but let's throw them in contention. Chef Ian over at Ephemera, upstairs at Quaddy. They've been pushing. They've been doing the tasting menu for several years. I think if they're having a great night, they have a shot. They do some really cool stuff up there. All right, to your question, the next tier
yes,
of
the next it's not just fine dining that
it's not just fine dining. Okay, real quick, I won't elaborate. So the Warehouse downtown, Chef James, awesome. Chef Victor just opened up Tava up in Woodland Park. They're doing some cool stuff. I haven't been back to see the steakhouse yet, but let's throw it in contention. What if it was Italian? What if it's Sopra upstairs above Parvasini? What if it's Stellina? Because they're making pasta too, and dough and doing it the real way, and it's in a cute neighborhood, so maybe the inspectors will love that. Drive out to Powers. We haven't gotten out to Powers for anything, and you're thinking what could possibly be on Powers? That other city out there. Chuckwagon 719, people. Yeah. It's incredible barbecue. The Texas Monthly came up here to talk to them from Texas. That's the Michelin of barbecue. It's incredible. So they should definitely be on the list. Who has gotten maybe a little drunk and gone to Chiba Bar late at night? Great. Why can't Chiba Bar be on that list for that amazing Donburi Bowl? Margarita at Pine Creek, you have to mention that. Chef Eric, incredible. What if Adam's Mountain Cafe landed on that list? 30-year staple, the menu doesn't need to change. It's great, we love it. Okay, stay downtown. Sugar's has to be on that consideration list, right? It's so great. All right, I'll move faster. You already mentioned Por Favor. I love Por Favor as well. That was on my list. Anyone done Mossam, the Indian place? Pretty amazing. Okay, I haven't been to these in a little while, but it is possible to stay in that steakhouse realm. What if it's like Pepper Tree or Prime 25? It's possible. Sushi Row downtown? All right, I hear some yeses. This is fun, a little call and repeat. What about the ramen stop? I mean, is it possible that Hayato could, oh, he's just shaking his head. I don't know, we'll see. All right, one last one too. We talked about like, it could be a food truck or a food stall.
Right.
They will review that. What about Chef Fernando at Pinche Way, which is now outside of West Fax. He had Inefable before. Fernando's an amazing chef, so what I don't know is did the inspectors do their homework? And do they know to go to these spots? And are they going to hit them? I have no idea. They're going to miss some of these things, so maybe we'll catch them in year 2 or 3.
And they really are called inspectors, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't have like badges, you know, it's definitely
monocles.
Right, no monocles.
No monocles.
No monocles.
Well, so when are we going to find out?
Middle of next month-ish. We know it's coming. It's when they did it last year. I don't have an exact date for you tonight, but we will have that very soon. So by the time this segment airs, we'll be able to tell you. So let's just say we're about a month away.
Excellent. So anything else you want to add, Matthew?
One spot
Yeah?
outside of Colorado Springs in your listener territory,
Yeah?
San Luis Valley, Windsor Hotel. Any of you been there? Oh, this is great. I get to introduce you to something new. Go to the Windsor Hotel. It's in Del Norte. Chef Cody worked at one of Wolfgang Puck's places before. Great food program, incredible drink program. But if an inspector would just go through there and they're out like in this huge desert and they're thinking there's possibly nothing great over here, they would be blown away. So I just wanted to throw something out there for
Excellent.
another territory.
Wonderful. And if you have not signed up for Matthew Schnipper's side dish newsletter, please do. We have a QR code for that. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
So now we want to open up the floor.